So, hello, welcome to Besties Banter, Soul Stars, and the Power of Inner Wisdom. My name is Sherry Cameron with the Pathway to More Coaching and Events. And
I'm Diana Burke, and I am from Out Amongst the Stars Astrology, and Sherry's longtime bestie from like many years ago.
I don't know, for like almost 50 years,
Yeah.
kind of crazy. So, this is our second session together. And so I'm excited to be here with my bestie Di. And we thought we'd hop on today and just talk a little bit about because we were both just chatting before this session and about wow, it just feels like there's some crazy stuff happening all at once right now, and it seems like everyone that I'm chatting with, there's just a lot of commotion going on in their world. I know I've just had a lot of commotion happen in my world, some changes business wise, and I just lost my beautiful pet, longtime pet, Joey, our dog, passed away just recently. And then Di, you were sharing, there's so much changes going on in your world. I'll let you speak to that, but we thought, hey, we'll come
Yeah,
on and chat a little bit about what's going on.
yeah. No, last week was a wild week, and it wasn't like it was jam packed full of a whole bunch of things from the astrological perspective, but we were approaching a Mars South Node um, conjunction, and but it was like everyone I spoke to, or just people all of a sudden were posting things that have happened in their lives that were extremely shocking. And of course, we also just had Uranus, the planet of shock and awe, move into Gemini, which is like speeding up the energy and speeding things up. And so, whether or not that, hit their, because the ingresses of those outer planets, when the energy's just moving, can be very strong when the first ingresses happen, or when they're leaving, or when they're stationing retrograde or stationing direct. And we were also upon a Mercury retrograde too, and it was just like wild.
Mhm.
A friend um, uh, that I had here just suddenly suddenly passed, which we both actually went to school with that person. That was on, yeah, that was on Facebook, and it was just like a random medical thing that just didn't go well.
Yeah.
And yeah, right in my community, the neighbor had a medical episode, and the other neighbor's father suddenly passed. And then I went to a, kind of a camp out, a friend camp out, and a cousin of mine, her um, kids, three of them ended up in the hospital in the same week. And
All different stuff.
all different stuff. People,
Like
yeah,
it's just like it feels like there's this, undercurrent. We were talking about that too. There's this undercurrent that's kind of been going on for a while. But then in this last week or so, it's just been all these, like even my dog, he was a little bit older, 12, but it's like I was saying he got sick and within 6 hours we were putting him down. Like there just seems to be all this like woo out of the nowhere thing. So I'm curious if everyone out there is experiencing what we're experiencing. And sometimes it's that, trying to make sense of what's happening when this feels like chaos um,
yeah,
is ensuing, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And part of it, I can talk a little bit later about the astrology, but part of it is also our actual sun has this large corona hole in it. So if you want to go look at Stephen Burns, or Stefan Burns, actually, um, is his name, and he's a geophysicist, and he continually gives us updates on what's going on with these, X flares, and different situations and filaments coming off the sun. And then all that energy gets, sometimes not totally directed to Earth, but it affects us on Earth either way. And that's why we've seen a whole bunch of weather stuff and earthquakes and volcanoes that were erupting, especially over in that area of Japan. And it is, I feel, also really part of this evolution that we're in. And it is known to be really messing with our nervous system. So as we're in this evolutionary consciousness upgrade and change and shift, which is, I guess, known by people from the intuitive side, and you can feel like you're totally feeling that. And
Yeah.
many people are getting messages and trying to relay them. And then I look at the astrology, and the astrology, there's all these outer planet shifts happening, within this short window, which that to me is a major, that is what indicates, changes in our era and energy. And we're going from this, earthy water into fire and air, and that's the technology and like creation, and just a complete total change. And what some of the intuitives have been saying is that these X flares are causing a lot of symptoms for people. So um, things like exhaustion and your nervous system just feeling really weird, head pressure ringing in the ears, heart flutters, old traumas surfacing, and for like no
Mhm.
clear reason, like no specific triggers, emotional waves of grief and frustration and anxiety, and or vivid dreams and sleep interferences, and like numbing in the limbs and tingling, a deep need for like solitude and disconnection from the chaos, because there's just so much information
Which is what
happening.
all we were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
Both
Yes. Yeah.
experiencing all of that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I just, between you and I, you feeling it, and me kind of like, I go digging for these, bits of information, and to, you know, share with people, that just so people aren't like, oh my gosh, what is happening, for what is going on in my world? Why is this,
Yeah.
you know, there is way bigger picture, a way bigger picture going on, for sure.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I think that any of us that are on this, I call it the spiritual journey, have most of us have that belief that, and not feeling like, and not knowing that, overall we are entering into this, big time of shift and change. And, we were kind of again chatting about this before we came on, about how if you think back even just a couple of years or a few years back, I was saying how I feel it's totally different now. And sometimes I can't even put my finger on what that is, but it's different and it's unsettling. I feel like we were in this, looking back on it now, I feel like we were kind of all asleep a bit, right? And just
Yeah.
coasting and asleep. And now we're in this sort of great awakening, and energies are shifting and everything is shifting and some things are crumbling and all of that. And so it's just, I think even just this, it's so different. It's so different. And I think it's gonna,
Yeah.
this is just intuitively me knowing, like you have more of the sense from the stars and astrology and what's happening. But intuitively I know, like, and we're just beginning, right? Like there's
Oh yeah.
this on the horizon.
Oh, oh, absolutely. However, we are at the stage now where all the outer planets have made their shift, and they are, two of them, like that Saturn Neptune, like I said in our last one, that's going to come together. Our, creative spark, and something in this, 0 degrees of Aries, where they're going to come together with our, intuition and creative spark, and our, courageous, compassionate kind of spiritual warrior part of ourselves. Like there's all kinds of archetypal ways we can express that particular energy, and they're going to come together in February. And they did come very close this month. They are very, very close here, but they're actually, both Saturn and Neptune are moving retrograde, so they're already, going to shift now in retrograde motion, and then, we'll move back into that Pisces, where we just had Jupiter move into Cancer, and we'll have and the Uranus, the shock and awe, move into Gemini here on July 7th. So anything that was sudden and shocking, that could be a lot of, a lot from also that energy. And we also had Mars and Pluto, deconstruction, and Mars is like the kind of the cut, sever, sort of drive, action, will planet. And when those two are opposing, that's when we've seen a lot of, violent stuff in the world. And we had that in the spring. While Mars went over the, south node, and that triggered that point too. So we are really feeling all these shifts. And then just with the sun in general, with all the solar flares, like, it is part of that conscious upgrade. I mean, people are getting reportedly sudden insights or memories or past life connections. And that's why, with that Neptune and Saturn coming together, it's like taking the dream and bring it into reality, or something coming through. So if you're having stuff in your dreams, like, really, record that, because especially with
Mhm.
Uranus and Gemini, the information can happen quickly, and there might be something that wants to come through that is just in this bubbling under the surface creation phase. It's not in actual, tangible, let's do the things, but there's something more to all of this.
Yeah, it's
And
interesting too, because if I even reflect on myself, like sometimes some people say, "Oh, what's happening with your dreams?" And I'm like, I don't remember anything. I don't remember my dreams at all. And then I'll go through a phase where I'm like, what is happening? I'm
yeah,
happy. And lately, I've been back into this phase of like, okay, that was weird. And I'm remembering my dreams, and there's like all these strange things happening. But yet I just came, before that out of I don't know, like I don't remember any of my dreams, or if I'm having dreams, I don't remember them, that kind of thing. So I'm sure it's linked
right.
to what's going on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, just flashes of insight or downloads of ideas even during the day.
Mm,
It's good to write those kinds of things down. And tech glitches, like, oh,
yeah.
one of my teachers, that, yes, he was like, it's a great Uranus into Gemini story, but not so great in life. Busiest month, he tries to take time off, birthday, kids out of school, all that. And he recorded a full week because there was a major storm, and the whole audio of everything he recorded for a full week of recordings, which get released later, was non-existent. So all had to be redone, like, right in the busiest time. So,
Mm,
just kind of crazy things like that can happen. And so I guess it's just a matter of working with your energy. Like, I've been feeling so exhausted in the sense of, like, not
yeah.
wanting to jump out of bed. So I just have been able to sleep in, getting grounded, getting your bare feet on the grass,
Mm,
and adjusting to, like, I haven't been able to hold down a plan. Like, everything kind of, I'll think I'm going to do something, but then something kind of shifts, and
I hear
I
you.
does not execute the way that
I
I thought.
Are
Or
you guys feeling that? Like, oh my gosh, I'm so feeling that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but feeling spaced is another thing on my list,
Hmm.
and feeling spaced out or disconnected from time as
Mm,
we get this upgrade. And I know for me, I've had, like, body stuff that I normally don't have. It's like, so crunchy, and it's like it wants to, it's trying to upgrade all the information coming in, and it can't keep up or something. So lots of water and bare feet on the grass, and just
that
trying
just
to,
feels so like it makes so much sense, right? Like, yeah.
yeah,
Like just how you even describe that. It's like, ooh, yeah.
yeah, and rest when needed. Don't try to
Mhm.
push, especially right now. Not
Mhm.
at all, because we're actually in a Mercury retrograde, which is in Leo, which is the fire energy. It's that go forward. And so in Leo, it's not often as much about that, information, as it is about just an internalized kind of, like, what's happening in your heart center. Like, how do you want to connect with some kind of new, I guess, creative spark and inspiration and lead you want to take in the world. You know, the Leo is the one who sometimes likes to be on the shiny stage, but it's more, has to be heart centered and heart led, not from
Yes.
ego place. The lower expression of that is being too ego centered, and yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
bravado and ego. Yeah,
Well, and
and
you and I have talked about this many times. I mean, it's part of my own personal philosophy is around this whole piece of, that's what we're all being called for right now is to really tap into like what's wanting to come from our heart, what's wanting, that soul purpose stuff that, that what's wanting to emerge through us, what's wanting to be shared through us, what's feeling, what's inspiring us, what's like that's what's like I think too that's where all this kind of forgetting who we are is melting away. It's no longer landing. And so, but we're really moving through it. So it's like it's gonna feel, yeah, like I think it's gonna feel really uncertain and it's gonna feel chaotic. And it's because like we're going through it collectively and sort of like, okay, like we're moving out of this sort of, I'm gonna say, call it this asleep space and moving into something new. But whoa, like what does that even look like? And I think so there's just a lot of chaos and flux and things going on.
yeah,
And so I feel that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure that everybody would agree that they're
Mhm.
all feeling uh feeling the change, feeling the shift, and as I mentioned before, when on our first call we were talking about the all the void moons we're in too, which allowing us to, I'm just like, as soon as the moon goes void, and it's going void for all those hours, I'm just like, like, it's kind of a not push forward time. Yes, you can, plan and create, and it's not like you completely stop life or anything like that, but it's
Right.
allowing a little more time, for all of that to be processed and come through. And so, we had like, just in this end of June, we had our Mercury enter shadow and of the Leo, and so it's good to look at the Leo part of your chart. And um, and then July 4th was when Neptune went retrograde, and so when those planets, those big planets, stop, like because they have to, it's like when you're braking the vehicle, they have to kind of really slow down in order to change direction. um, you know that could have created some higher energy in the Neptune, and then we had the Uranus move into Gemini right after that in that same week. So there's just been a lot of big things that are taking place, and and then we had the retrograde of Saturn, and then July 17th was when Mercury, like our mind, our thought processes, our communication in Leo, ended up going retrograde. So we're in one of those right now, which, it's a great time to go back and maybe revisit things that you were looking at before, or redo certain things, or reconnect like with what's in your heart of what, where you want your bold kind of shiny part of you, wherever that lands in your chart. Like for me, that's actually, I have Venus there, and it's in my relationship and my one-on-one contracts, and it's about the others and the connection in one-on-one partnerships. So we'll see. I know lots of times it has to do with my daughter, because my Venus is there, and that kind of gets initiated there, and she's in a little different phase too. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're all being initiated to look at that. And I actually could. I was going to share the chart here and we can have a look
Yeah,
at it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So just shift a few things around here, but we can see here is our chart for, it's like today was the new moon in Leo. So this is the Leo sign. And so if you put in your birth data and date on Astro, this is astro.com. And AstroSeek is another one you can use. It's free software. And you can see where your own Leo is. But we have the moon and the sun together at 2 degrees. And that was just today at like 1:11 p.m.
Oh,
Mountain
cool.
Standard
11.
Time. Yeah,
Interesting.
that this new moon happened. At the same time, we have here, we have the Mercury in Leo too, retrograding. So it's up here. But as it goes backwards until August 11th, it's going to end up about 4 degrees. So just on this side of that new moon. So we're really in a lot of this Leo energy, which is fun and creative and childlike and playful. And,
Awesome.
it's, yeah, it's not, Leo's and it's about your own leadership and your own, bold courage and where you kind of want to shine your light in the world. So we might be getting some reevaluations of that energy.
Bring
Yeah.
it on. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a really powerful new moon because so these two, of course, are together. That these are our luminaries, and the sun being how we what vital force energy we have that wants to shine bright in the world, and how we want to be lit up, and then the moon being our kind of emotional, daily, subjective, more inner world, all both together are luminaries in opposition to Pluto. So Pluto is deconstructing, transforming something. It's like that death and rebirth, right? So it's the one that takes everything, burns everything kind of down to the ground to rebuild it in a new and better way. So there
Interesting.
are, yeah, some things that we're seeing get crumbled,
Sure.
probably with this energy, and it's because it doesn't fit in that Aquarius energy, which is, the new, original, kind of outside the box. It's about humanity and collective energy. And, yes, it likes to be its own unique self and can bring in the rebel and bring in the ones that, want to really advocate for a certain thing that is not conventional. But it also is the one who the energy of Aquarius is the one who really loves to help the group and humanity in general, and more of a detached place. So we have all, and it's innovation and future and technological advances. So there's something here that's getting definitely shifted with that Pluto now fully in Aquarius. And it's going to, it's how we want to be that leader in the world authentically, that's going to fit in with this new technology and
And
new
how long is that for? Like it, or is it?
well, yeah, I mean, Pluto and Aquarius will be here 20 years. So
Oh,
we were
okay.
just 15 years, 2008, and then Pluto, of course, with the retrograde, flipped back and forth over this Capricorn. That final shift into Aquarius, we've really seen stuff crumble in that big corporate, big business, anything institutional, all the big systems and structures that were in place. We're really seeing a lot of shifts in those kind of, and so it's that hierarchy and power over in Capricorn, where Aquarius is grassroots up, right? And it's the people coming together. So that's why collaborating is so great. So that's why I'm looking at where mine is, and I'm like, how would it be better to collaborate with people with you have this skill and I have that skill, and let's bring them together to be
Yeah. Yeah.
more helpful to the community. So that was kind of, us doing this as
Yeah.
well, instead of, you're still your individual self, but it's more, as a togetherness. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Bringing more wholeness to the table. Yeah.
yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, and so in the energy we were in recently here too was in Virgo. We had this South Node in Mars come together, and like I was saying, all the planets were kind of in between these nodes. I was telling you that it's not anything I study. It's called Kal Sapa Yoga, and it's when all the visible planets are between the nodes and can create so much frustration and things. People
Mm.
having a hard time getting things to move, and I just learned about it through a couple of the teachers that I follow. So that Mars hitting that south node moved it to the other side. So hopefully, some potential frustrations are going to also
E-
shift. And so as
Yeah.
we move, yeah, and Uranus. So we have what we have going on is Uranus and Pluto. So this is 0 degrees. All these ingresses. Pluto's at 2, Uranus is at 0, and then the Saturn Neptune is at 1 and 2, and it's forming this mini grand trine.
Mm.
And yeah, and moving into this Uranus Pluto trine is going to be a big talk, later of, just new sudden revolution, invention kind of stuff, like transforming our world really. And so,
Like
Neptune
AI.
is like, I mean, the AI, but the AI is like, you know, taking off to another whole entire
Another
place where
level.
there's like, they're
Totally.
using AI to do surgeries.
Yeah.
And, like we're going to see stuff really
Yeah.
shift more
Wild. Yeah.
quickly. Yeah. Yeah. So, lots of, you know, your Uranus will bring in the breakthroughs and revolution stuff, and rebellion and invention, and has lots to do with electricity. So that is definitely technological too. And then our Neptune dreams and our Saturn is our reality. It helps us bring some structure into all of this.
Mm-hmm.
But you know just these are aligned in a really nice pattern, which is really great, but it also is bringing a lot of destruction and transformation and sort of rebirth into everything.
Yeah,
And
like in some ways, it can all this stuff it too, it can feel messy and really, like on shaky ground, but it's also exciting too, right? Because it's
yeah,
lots shifting. Hmm.
yeah, and it's sort of like, I mean, like we talked about, that was only a few of the things that got really shaken up in people's world. And it's sort of like, if something happens that does that, it's if someone leaves, exits the world, it was their time. Like our good old Ozzy Osbourne, right? It was his time,
Yeah.
right? He was a legend, and the rock and roll world, and left his legacy. But it was just time, and he
Hmm.
kind of obviously knew it was his time to do that last concert just a few
Hmm.
days ago, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah. And so, there's just, oh, it's hard, but at the same time, it's something that we have to find some acceptance in, that we're moving and shifting, and some people and some things are just meant to be released, and that's Pluto, like
Yeah.
letting go, releasing, and allowing the new to come in, and allowing our new selves to be who we want to be, like really connecting with what's in your heart. If it's not, it's gonna want to leave. That's the Pluto, and we're in
Yeah.
opposition. So you're in this, what does my heart want? And I getting pulled in this, Plutonian, like it's just things are not the same, and they're crumbling, and and
Yeah. Yeah. I
it's
think,
all,
and I think a lot of us, whether, we stop and realize it or not, it just when I look at even friend circles, and it's like lots of people are moving through that, and they are really, pondering, well, wait a minute, who am I and what am I,
Yeah.
and starting to really tap into that more, which is wonderful, right?
It is. It
Mhm.
is because it allows us. Pluto is in Aquarius is all about your unique, authentic self, and then the Leo in its opposition is also about that, but more in that. How do I want to connect? What's in my heart with taking the lead and being courageous and being bold and putting myself out there. So if there's been something that's calling to you and you're not um, doing it, there is probably going to be with this new moon energy a seed planted. And what I did was I put for transits, I put the date to then when this is a full moon. Now there is a larger moon cycle that works in a 27 months cycle where this new moon, the seeds planted as of today, may culminate over 27 months. But there is something about, today that you may see, a culminate or come to a close or come to some sort of a point of recognition, like the fruits on a tree, right? And that'll be in on February 1st, and or what, that was 2025. It should be 2026.
Mhm.
And so that's when that full moon will be in Leo. So at that point, we'll be in the Aquarius, um, and then we'll have this opposite, right? The moon in Leo, the sun in Aquarius. And that culmination point is from the seeds planted now, which is interesting because February also is the month that we'll see these two, this fire energy get ignited with these being retrograde back into Pisces, and our sort of watery, dreamy, space can be illusions, and then around February 20th, they both are forward again, and they hit that 0 degree mark together at the same time, and that's a
Oh,
spark of creation. uh,
okay.
yeah, and
Interesting.
the dreams into reality, and yeah, and then
Okay, so February, you all, we'll be watching.
February is, yeah, and yeah, there's a few other transits. February 2026, there definitely, I think we'll be feeling some shifts there. And right now we're still in the, things are pretty fluid and flexible and changing. But I would, if there's something calling to your heart, taking steps towards that with this new moon in Leo, um, even if it feels extremely transformative and extremely um, regenerative, or like literally maybe pulling something right down to the ground, or something happening in life that happens for you. It's
Hmm.
it's not it is all for reason, is
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's like even though it can be a little bit tumultuous at times, it's exciting because there is there is things in the works, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Which is
no, for
cool.
sure. That's
Mhm.
absolutely right. It feels tumultuous, but it's all for reason, and it is for definitely for us to make those changes. So what's nice, like with people say this about Uranus, and it's in Gemini and cruising along, but it is going to move back into Taurus, where it wanted to shake up our money systems, our agriculture, our food systems, and our possessions, our finances, and it's fixed. Like Taurus is a fixed, solid energy, and it's methodical, and it doesn't like to move quickly. So when you put the planet of shock and awe, right, of the Uranus, like, let me just come in like a lightning bolt in that, it didn't like that. It was there for 7 years. So whatever was going on since like 2018, in that area of your chart, for me, it's been my home. And funny, because as soon as Uranus went into Gemini, it was like, ah. because I'm a Gemini and I kind of like it. And next thing you know, I got a home on wheels. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So I moved out, literally, Uranus moved into Taurus all 7 years ago in May 15th. And I literally moved out of my house, my like that I've had for 20 years,
Yeah.
because I had a renter. My daughter was in school. And then I moved out. I moved out for like 9 months, and then it shifted again. And then we were back in the house together. And then we've been figuring out this thing since then, her and I together under the same roof, all through the lockdown and stuff. And it totally made sense. And I'm like, well, we're just supposed to be here, right? Together. But then,
Yeah.
she's in her mid 20s. And then it's like, okay, but we somehow have to separate. So,
Yeah. And
solution,
so it is. Yeah.
Uranus and
You weren't
Gemini,
sure
home
how
on.
that was going to happen, but it
Yeah.
did, right? So,
Yeah. And I mean, it's not been pleasant. Like it was, like all the
right.
years, everything that, finances and everything were there to, keep this going and pay the mortgage and everything. And then it's been topsy turvy for us, you know, right as Uranus was leaving Taurus, and even throughout, and stuff like I think I mentioned last time, windows breaking in the house when I had it hit my Saturn in my own chart and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was like, oh, my foundation's getting kind of shook up here, So it was
Interesting.
yeah, it is very interesting
It
when.
is, especially when it's like, if I could just get in Diana's brain,
Right.
I can
Well,
make
that's
sense
why we
of
do this
everything.
together. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Well,
sometimes, and that's what everyone comes back to. Sometimes it just feels nonsensical. Like, what in the hell? What in the actual bleep? Right.
yes.
And this is, part of our goal here too, is to help people sort of understand, okay, here's what's happening. And, that larger purpose piece, like there's more going on here sometimes than we can make sense of. And, there is stuff to be sort of excited about, the shifts and everything that are to come. And yet, here we are in the day to day, in the real world sometimes, and it can feel a little topsy-turvy, right?
Oh, yeah, tumultuous and hard and all those things. It's sort of like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like I don't know if I can,
Yeah.
take anymore. And so that's why the messaging is coming through loud and clear from everyone who is recognizing what's going on, from this astrological perspective, from a consciousness level, from like people like the geophysicists looking at the
Yeah.
sun, and
Yeah.
to find your inner solace somehow. And there's all kinds of different modalities. I know when we had done the summit together, I had listed a whole bunch of different modalities and for people if they weren't familiar, because they're not typically conventional. And like I mentioned to you, I have two friends that do flower essences,
Hmm.
to help work through the energies of the emotion, to help either calm or motivate or work through emotional stuff. One's right here, not like right local for us, not far
Hmm.
from where you grew up actually.
Yeah.
And another's in the UK, and that my friend Gail, she was on your summit, and so they both do that. But there's other stuff, working through either through tapping or EMDR, or you know um,
Yeah.
resonance repatterning, or some of the other
Yeah.
modalities, and you have friends who do. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah. And
Well,
some of the stuff you've done.
even in terms of, myself, like even to just give a couple of tips here, it's like, if you're feeling, because again, I know many people are, if they're feeling that just sort of like, wow, things are frustrating. I feel like, I'm losing my footing. I'm feeling things are chaotic. It's like, just even taking those moments in the day, like I can't reiterate enough. One of the tools that I use in my coaching is positive intelligence. And in that, it's like really one of the tools that they always talk about. And that work is, and I mean, it's not unique to positive intelligence, but it's that whole piece of really taking those moments and taking those breaks where we just, I'm going to say become present and come into our body. And yes, there's meditative practices, there's all kinds of those things that we can pick up and we can do. And then a lot of people will say, well, in the chaos, like I know I should be doing this, I should be doing that, but I don't really have, time to, or I'm challenged with finding the time to, implement a meditative practice or something into my day. But I'm here to always say that's something that you can do that's it doesn't have to take a lot of time. I mean, it can just be those moments where you're driving and you're feeling the steering wheel in your hands and you're just feeling the texture of that. You're taking a moment to rub two fingers together and just notice the ridges of your fingerprints, our breath, like just tapping into our breath and noticing the temperature of the air as it's moving in through our nostrils and exiting our nostrils, like just simple things like that, that if we actually choose to put those into our day can make such an impact. And
Uh,
one other thing I would share too is just the ability to be able to, when something's happening and we're feeling in the chaos and we're like, I don't even know what the purpose of this is or why it's happening, and we're feeling that frustration, to even just be like, okay, so this is happening, and just literally taking a moment with our body and just tensing our body up and being like, okay, like I choose to accept, and then releasing. Like, because sometimes we don't have control over what's going on, right? And
yeah, no, that
moment,
exactly.
just clench your body up, clench your teeth up, whatever, clench your fists, and just be like, I choose to accept and release. Like just that release in our body and being like, I can make sense of this. I can figure out what the gift or opportunity in this is at some point. I can figure out, what I want to do about this situation. But in the moment, I can choose to accept. And even just, taking on a couple of tips like that can help make such a big difference as we're riding this wave that we're riding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I mean, another real important one is to make sure that you're getting enough water to,
Mm.
as well as getting outside and
Yes.
connecting back with nature and getting
100%.
putting your bare feet on the ground to ground yourself. Yeah, is I find like I actually need to feel it, and I mean
Yeah.
I even walk around in the pasture where there's manure and stuff
Yeah.
sometimes. But just keep, yeah,
Yeah.
get
Whenever,
those.
nothing like a bit of horse shit between your toes
Yeah,
or cow crap
absolutely.
between your toes to like bring
Yeah.
you back down to earth, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's true. It's so true. It's like just that you and I were sharing again before we came on. It was like I hadn't really realized until I lost my dog how much of a grounding tool he was for me, right? Like
Yeah.
it dispersed all throughout my day, just sort of going to him and, snuggling with him, petting with him, and just like bring me back, down to earth kind of thing in amongst all the chaos. And so now
Yeah.
it's, ooh, I have to start to implement some of my own, some of my own teachings, bring myself
Yeah.
grounded space, right? Because I don't have that
Oh, yeah.
tool anymore. Mm.
Oh, and it is very significant for
Mm.
many. Like I was saying to you, I knew my daughter wanted a dog, and we always had horses around, but it is having the dog that she got last year. She's had him just over a year. Like she's just incredibly different person with
Mm.
him, and he just absolutely makes her light up. But he also gets her, moving outside sometimes when she doesn't want to be, although she is quite an outdoor person. It like, getting up out of bed to take the dog for a walk in the morning.
Yeah.
And she's realized how important that is, as well as, she's got quite a lot of fire in the mind
Yeah.
and also in the body. She's got to do
Right.
what she calls her morning pages.
Right.
And she'll warn me if she
Oh my
hasn't,
gosh. Yeah. Another
because
thing.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
has to write.
Yeah.
And if she hasn't, sometimes there's a lot of rage of that fire that something's bothered
Oh,
her and she couldn't get it out
interesting.
and has to, like, can you hold, but there's communication. It's like, can you hold space for me, mom? It's not like at me anymore, where
Right.
before it, now it's like, I got this rage over this thing. I'm not going to pick a fight just to soothe my nervous system. I'm just going to rage for a few minutes about this thing.
Right.
And it's like, and then she goes, explodes, and then it's like, whew, like it literally, it just, for her, it's bottled up and it has to come out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it is, right? It's finding those outlets because, yeah, there's a lot going on. And good point. It has to sometimes has to come out, right?
Yes.
One way or
Yeah.
another. So,
One way or another, people talk about going into the car,
mm,
also, and screaming.
hmm.
Um, that doesn't mean say go down driving down the road and have road rage. No, that's more of a parked, safe place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let it out, scream it out, um,
Mhm.
where somebody can't hear you if you have don't have a safe space to do that. So, yeah, everybody's things are tools that they need are different, and it often goes back to how much fire you have in your chart, in your
Right.
makeup, as well as, or air if you need to write or talk it out with a friend, or water if you need to cry, or just go into a soothing bath or in the shower and say down the drain away from me, and like shift the energy down the drain away from me, kind of moving it through the water, and or connecting back with nature in that earth, doing the earth
Oh,
thing.
and I think that is so being called for right now again, connecting
It
back with,
is.
yeah.
Absolutely is. Yeah. No, we are definitely all being called to really pay attention to our earth, and also our, nature, um, and connecting back to our natural, um, parts of self. We had way too many things between the technology, which isn't going to go away, and what's been added to our food and our supply chain and everything else, and what's getting contaminated through the water, we definitely have to connect back to more natural, and get our gut health back, and our then
So true.
nervous system and mental health dealt with as well. So,
Yeah, so true. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
All
anyway, I
right.
think that we probably solved all the world problems. And
Exactly. That was the plan with this.
yeah,
Solve
right.
all world problems. Just come to Besties Banter. We got it all.
Yeah,
Solve all
yeah,
the problems here.
for sure,
I
for
said there's a
sure.
lot of world problems, and at least we're supporting you in managing some of
Yes.
that.
Yeah, letting you know that there is good reason for it. And another um interesting thing is, if you want to know more, like, if you're into history and you want to know more about, like, when we've seen a lot of era changes, and that's happened with the planet, there is the book that is called Cosmos and Psyche, that
Mm,
is by Richard Tarnas. And so when I was in Rand's archetypal class, that's the work he bases his work off of too, through the Groff breath work. And that's another thing, is that breath work,
yes,
connecting
100%.
back to breath,
Hmm.
is extremely helpful for working through all the stuff that you're going through, and bringing up all the old traumas that need to be dealt with too, and doing those
Yeah, I've
kind of
had some pretty
therapies.
mind-boggling breathwork sessions. So,
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, very, yeah, very healing, very healing. So,
Who needs ayahuasca?
yeah, like that's a whole thing, is like you can add the psychedelics into your life, but some people are not interested in that, and they've maybe had some addiction issues or family members with that.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what can happen just even through the breath. So, um that's our, connection from the divine into self, and then getting into, that archetypal stuff. It actually connects us back into our perinatal phases. I think I mentioned that before too, with where we were at womb, and you know
Right. Yeah.
yeah, Neptune in the fluid, and the you know Saturn restriction as we grow, and then Pluto as we come through the canal, and then Uranus. And so right now it's like that rebirthing moment of like shock and awe of this new world that we're in, and it can be a lot for people. So all kinds of modalities and things to help soothe our
And
nervous system. But
yeah.
I was told our nervous system and a lot of fears are coming up for people right now. So if you're going through something, or had something really, like heartbreaking happen, like you just did, and like the people many people around me, my heart is with all of you, and I hope
Mhm.
that you can find some healing in some form or another. So, and if you want
Yeah.
to connect with Sherry does the positive intelligence and the Akashic records, and you want to share what else you have going on in your.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think I talked about that a little bit earlier. I think. So I have talking about personal philosophy. I've got a personal philosophy workshop coming up. So if that's, again, we're talking about that tapping into, what it is that my heart desires and who am I? It's really answering that question, who am I? And it's like, if someone came to you, I was listening to an audio and I thought I loved how he put it. If someone came to you at gunpoint and said, "Who are you?" Like, you tell me now, who are you? Like, do you know? Right? And it's tapping into, yeah, who am I? Like, what am I? What am I here to share? What's my heart's desire? And so really connecting into that. So yeah, I've got a little bit of that coming up, and always doing the coaching and lots of different online events that will have more of that coming up in the future. So yeah, Sherry Cameron, the
Yeah,
path. Mhm.
Sherry Cameron, the pathway tomorrow, or tomorrow, sorry. You want to put the in front of there. And yeah, and I'm Diana, and I'm at Out Amongst the Stars Astrology. Um, and I have a link tree under my YouTube or Instagram. And if you want to reach out, we'll have the links below the video, and you can do so. And you can join my Facebook group, because that's where I add, if you're into the groups, I just add little bits of stuff that I hear about, especially with the solar flares, and then just some more inspirational stuff. But if you want some consultations to see exactly what's going on, then you can connect with me through the Instagram link, because I like to help people through, like you said, who am I? Well, I am now is not who I was. And often that comes with a very significant life transit, where you are having some outer planet hit your natal planet in a way that's making you shift. And, we were talking about the nodes earlier. Well, the south node, we come in knowing how to do that. And the north node is wanting us to connect in a
Yeah.
whole different way. It has a whole different path for us, but
Yeah,
we just feel awkward, and like, it's not comfortable at all. And so
for
us
sure.
doing this work has come with some uncomfortableness for sure.
Yeah. Well, and like we've talked about before, our levels of consciousness are evolving at such a rate now. Sometimes
Yeah.
who am I is, flexing a lot faster than it ever used to. So,
Yes,
uh,
absolutely. Yeah, so you'll find the links below. And until next time, thank you all for being here at our besties banter and bringing you some soul wisdom. And bye for now, everyone.
bye for now.